Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight, we got a good one here. It is Hotlanta, and the old version of it at that. So, we'll see tire wear to the max, and these drivers sawing at the wheel each and every lap. 130 laps, going to be the distance here, but we wrap up practice right now. It is Joe Hudson with the quick time. We'll see if he can back that up here in qualifying, because that's, of course, what we have on deck first and foremost. 5 minutes, 2 laps. Each driver can take here for qualifying. Of those 2 laps, we will take the best of those lap times, and from there, that will set tonight's starting lineup. So we'll wait for cars to get rocking and rolling to the Speedway here. I believe one of the first may be the 32 machine of Bryson Anderson. We'll see if he can get rocking and rolling here. Looks like yes, he will. So we'll keep it on Bryson here, as we'll see what the 32 machine can do for a lap. Also, other cars heading out to the Speedway here. Johnny Barker, Rob Lowell, Joe Hudson, Steve Ritter, Dustin Coggin, as well as Mike Kelly, all making their way out onto the Speedway here. So we'll see if Anderson can start this lap and see if he will. Looks like we'll get a pit road penalty, so he will slow things on down. So we'll take a look now at the 43 machine. This is Mike Kelly, and it looks like Kelly here backing down this first lap, ready to give it all the beans here on lap number 2. And that's kind of someone with a lot of seat time, may know one or two tricks around here to really get those optimal lap times here, especially for qualifying, where you got to leave everything on the table. As here we go, Mike Kelly will start his second and final lap here at the stripe. So as I predicted, Mike Kelly going to be the bottom of the standings for the time being. Joe Hudson able to throw down a 30.77, 100th off of what he was able to do here in practice. So Hudson at the moment finding that speed once again, as here we go, Mike Kelly through 3 and 4 for the final time. Gonna look to pick up a lot of time from that 34 flat. 43 machine to the start finish line. Mike Kelly will go, it looks like maybe even slower. As interesting here, Mike Kelly going to start deep in this one. Now we'll go to a driver here looking for a good finish here. It currently sits in P number 3 in the standings. That is the 1 car of Brandon Guerin, as we have yet to see our points leader head out to the racetrack to take a qualifying time. But right now it is Joe Hudson leading the way over Rob Lowell, Johnny Barker in 3rd, Dustin Coggins 4th. Steve Ritter rounds out the top 5 as Frank Zingen there will slot into 6th, a 30.90 for the 62 machine. Brandon Guerin, lap number 1 in the books. That'll be good enough for a 31.42. Guerin will look for some more speed on lap number 2 here. The 1 car here will head down the back straightaway for the final time here in qualifying, so we'll see if he can turn it on up here for this second lap. Second lap is looking faster for the 1 machine, though. Off the bottom in a hurry, going to get a piece of the wall. It looks like Brandon Guerin will keep that 31.42, so that 1 car will start pretty deep in the field in this one. Now we have our points leader, Logan Koger, here out on the Speedway, so we'll see what Logan can do, as he was another driver pretty quick in practice, as Koger here, lap number 1, the 80 machine will actually go on the clock here. So we'll see what Logan can do here through 1 and 2 for his first official time lap here at Atlanta. Looks like one car yet to take a time so far. That is the 48 machine of Grant Humphrey. Humphrey coming off a win on Sunday night at Homestead with the 802 Winston Cup Series. So Grant looking to try and go 2 in a row. As there we go, Koger across the stripe. He will slot into P number 3, a 30.83 for the 80 machine. Logan will have just enough time to complete his qualifying run. About 30 seconds here left in the timer, so Logan will have a shot at the pole. It's just going to come down to this last and final lap here from the 80 machine off of turn number 4 for the final time, as Logan will hit the stripe. Second lap, not as good, a 31.03 for the 80 machine. So that will pretty much wrap up qualifying here tonight, and it looks like it will be the 23 machine of Joe Hudson here tonight, walking away with that Riptide Radio Pole Award. So congrats, Joe, on the pole award. That is awesome to see, and it'll be Joe Hudson here tonight leading the field down to green flag. And speaking about the field, what do we say we had trackside to go through tonight's starting lineup for the Hotlanta 200 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So tonight's starting lineup will look like the following. Joe Hudson in that 23 machine will be leading the field to the green flag to his outside. The 21 of Rob Lowell will make up the outside and complete the front row. Then heading back to row number 2, our points leader, Logan Koger, could leave tonight in a really good spot. He needs a solid finish. He will roll off in third, and to his outside, last Friday night's winner, it is the 6 car of Johnny Barker. Dustin Coggin will round out the top 5 here tonight. He comes into tonight's second in points, looking to continue to eat into that points lead of the 80 machine. To his outside, rolling off 6 will be the 61 car of Steve Ritter. Starting in 7th, that is the 62 machine of Frank Zingen. To Zingen's outside, it is the 15 machine of Landon Audit. Landon will start in 8th. Then in 9th will be the 25 car of Ron Holyfield. And rounding out the top 10 is Bryson Anderson, piloting that 32 machine. Brandon Guerin in the 1 will start in 11th. And Rick Kennedy in the 10 machine will roll off in 12th. 13th will be the 43 car of Mike Kelly. And the only driver to not take a time here in qualifying, that'll be the 48 machine of Grant Humphrey. So 14 cars getting ready to do battle here tonight as we get ready to rock and roll. And looks like some drama out here as Logan Koger not making the call to the grid. The 80 machine will start from pit road. Oh man, that is not how Logan probably wanted to start the night there, but it could be far from over. He just needs a quick caution and he could be right back caught up to the field. But if you're in the shoes maybe of Dustin Coggin, Brandon Guerin, you are hoping that this race goes green for quite a while here tonight. So with Logan there missing out on the bottom side, that'll move up that inside row 1 spot. So now Coggin will start 3rd, Frank Zingen will start 5th, and so on. So that'll move up quite a few cars 1 spot on that inside lane here tonight. As we get ready to rock and roll, like I said, 130 laps going to be the distance here tonight. So quite a bit of time. We know Atlanta, big time fall off when it comes to this racetrack. Drivers are going to have to be very conscious at their pace, how they're treating their tires, because All it takes is a handful of laps, and that handling can really start dropping off a cliff. But here we go. The iRacing pace car here makes the left-hand turn down pit road, and it is Joe Hudson going to be in control as Hudson on the loud pedal here. We go green flag racing here on a Friday night at Hotlanta. Pretty even start from the front row, but it will be Joe Hudson just getting clear of Rob Lowell into turn number 1. Lowell way up against the fence there in 1 and 2. Now open up the bottom side to the 46 machine of Dustin Coggin. Those two make a little contact there down the back straightaway, so even lap number 1 going to be trading some paint as Rob Lowell into the fence there into turn number 3. So the 21 going to lose some spots. Luckily for him, a long way to go here tonight. As you know, you can afford to give up quite a few spots at the beginning of a run, especially if you're backing up the pace, which it looks like that 21 machine is doing. But you know, it's all about that give and take, that balance of you don't want to give up too much time, because then you could spend most of the race trying to dig yourself out of that hole. Up in front here, Dustin Coggin looking for the race lead to the outside of Joe Hudson. And off of turn number 4, let's make it. Give the advantage to Coggin. Give the race lead to the 46 as Dustin Coggin takes over the point here tonight. As Coggin will get an all-important bonus point for leading a lap here tonight. Johnny Barker will follow suit. Same with the 62 machine of Frank Zingen. So a completely new top 3 here on lap number 3 at Atlanta here. Logan Koger was able to get out onto the speedway about 5.5 seconds back, so that 80 machine could be catching up to the back of the field here before we know it. So his night definitely far from over with starting from pit road. As we take a look here, Brandon Guerin now to the outside of Joe Hudson, so I think Hudson trying to maybe follow the 21 strategy a little bit, taking care of his stuff here at the start of this race. Want to make sure he got a bonus point for leading a lap. After that, back it on down, try and keep that race car underneath him for as long as possible, because I don't think these guys can just make it halfway. I think we will see a 2-stopper. The question is, with that 2-stopper, when is the right time to head down pit road here? Landon Auto here taking a peek to the inside of Frank Zingen. This is a battle for the 3rd position. So the 15 here charging up through the field. And same with that black number 1 machine of Brandon Guerin. Auto up 5 position. Brandon Guerin up 6. Those two being the 2 biggest movers of the race so far. And both of them sitting in the top 5 here early in this one. Grant Humphrey not taking a time here in qualifying, has kind of made up a few positions. First car now outside of the top 10. Humphrey up to P number 11 here in the 48 car, or the 9 on the paint scheme here, as he was getting around Rob Lowell for that position. So Lowell continues to back down the pace here tonight in this one, trying to really take care of his stuff, waiting to turn it up. Probably about 15, no more than 20 laps in this run. We'll see the 21 start to return it back up and pick back up the pace here at Atlanta. Out in front here, about a 5-car breakaway. Then a little bit of a gap then to the 32 machine of Bryson Anderson, who we just saw get around Steve Ritter. As here we go, Johnny Barker now takes a peek to the inside of that 46 machine for the race lead, and Barker will get clear. Same with Landon Audit. So Coggin goes from the race lead into turn number 1 back to P number 3 as new race leader Johnny Barker looking to go 2 in a row here on Friday nights. So early on in this race, but we've already seen quite a few lead changes in this one. Current race leader Johnny Barker leading the way over Landon Audit. Audit right now tied with Brandon Guerin as that biggest mover here so far in this one. Then Dustin Coggin sits in third. Frank Zingen in fourth. Brandon Guerin, of course, rounding out the top five. Then, like I said, a little bit of a gap then to Bryson Anderson. But Anderson catching that top five. Then got to keep an eye on this Hot Wheels 43 machine. Mike Kelly already up to P number 7 here. And we'll see what kind of pace he has for the rest of this race. But he will be definitely one of, if not the car to beat, because I'm sure Mike Kelly has had a lot of laps here at Atlanta. He probably knows a thing or two around this place. So Rob Lowell here starting to turn things back up in that 21 machine. Taking a peek to the inside of Ron Holyfield. Going to get that spot right there in turn number 1. So move that 21 machine back up into 11th as Rob Lowell will try and climb the running order here tonight as he now takes a peek to the high side of Joe Hudson. So Hudson continues to try and manage that pace in that 23 machine, but we'll see how long that will be because, like I said, lap 15, lap 20, those guys that saved will want to start picking it back up, as I'm sure this kind of 3 cars right here, Humphrey, Hudson, and Lowell, all going to pick it on up at a very, very similar time. But here we go, Lowell to the outside of Hudson. We'll get around him. Had a run on Grant Humphrey there. Going to take a peek to the inside here at 3 and 4. Probably just try and get some clean air on the nose of that 21 machine. But a pretty good battle here on the Speedway between these 3 race cars. Remember, this is right on the cusp of the top 10 here with these 3 drivers. Lowell and Humphrey currently battling for that 9th position as the 21 machine going to get that spot. Logan Koger already up to 13th here, already able to get around 1 car here early in this one. Grant Humphrey here, not sure if he had a moment there through 3 and 4, but the pace on that race car definitely not what it needs to be here down the front straightaway. So Humphrey will have to try and set his head back down, get back in a rhythm here because he lost 2 spots right there just down that front straightaway here. So here we go, Humphrey trying to get around the 25 machine of Ron Holyfield. Going to take a peek to the outside, not going to have enough of a run. And Humphrey has to be careful because here comes Koger now in that 80 machine within striking distance, within now, let's make it 2 car lengths of the 48 in the time and scoring, of course, the 9 on the race car here tonight. Up towards the front, though, Johnny Barker has started to put a gap on the rest of the field. Barker up now over a second over Landon Audit, who is now kind of starting to get run back down by Dustin Coggin as we see the pass there for that 11th position. Now Logan Koger going to try and go on through on the front straightaway. Going to do just that there in that 80 machine. Head back up towards the front of this field here. Like I said, Johnny Barker now about a 1.5 second advantage over this battle now for second, as Dustin Coggin here trying to get around Landon Audit for this 2nd position. Right behind them, I believe, Joe Hudson, Rob Lowell once again side by side on the Speedway. This is a battle for that 9th position out here, as Lowell will try and hang on to that spot. Going to do just that through 3 and 4, able to keep the momentum on the high side of 1 and 2. And that's one of the cool things about this racetrack, was one of the first to have really multi-group racing throughout this race. We'll see guys continue to get closer and closer to that outside wall, especially in turns 1 and 2, as their tires and the handling of these race cars will start to go away more and more here tonight. Once again, Dustin Coggin with a good run to the inside of Landon Audit. Not going to be able to keep the momentum, though, through that front straightaway. So those two will hold for the time being. Deeper in the field, Rob Lowell continuing to try and charge up through the standings. Now trying to get around his teammate of Steve Ritter. Going to do just that there through 3 and 4. So that 21 machine able to pick up and put down another position here. As remember, that 21 started in second, dropped quickly to the back to kind of manage that pace. Has once again started to turn it back up here tonight. As I tell you what, Landon Audit here doing a great job at hanging on to that second spot. Has yet to let the 46 or the 62 go on by. So let's ride on board with Audit here, looking back at the rest of the field here as we go on board for a ride around a lap here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Audit out here tonight, able to make that middle to top side work, able to get some good runs here down these straightaways from that 15 machine. The question, of course, has to be, how were those tires feeling about another 20 or so laps? I mean, the top side is definitely very tough at a track that is very tough with tires to begin with here. The surface, of course, the old Atlanta, very old surface, very abrasive here. We'll see massive tire fall off as Rob Lowell now makes it up to 7th here tonight. Brandon Guerin here challenging his teammate Frank Zingen in that 62 machine. That'll be a battle here for that 4th position here in a few laps, but it seems like they have gotten behind Audit, haven't been able to make a move, but Audit will get a piece of the wall there down the back straightaway. This could be the moment Coggin was looking for, as the 46 machine able to get to the top side here, and Dustin Coggin will be able to sneak P number 2. Also trouble for the 32 machine. Bryson Anderson, I believe, hit the wall there off of turn number 2. We'll jump to pit road. We'll take a look at that incident here in a moment, as Frank Zingen now able to get clear. Here comes now Brandon Guerin for that 4th position now. So Guerin able to get by now. It is going to be the 43 machine of Mike Kelly. Kelly going to be the next one to try and get around the 15 here early on in this one. Has about 105 laps left in this one, so laps kind of quickly clicking on by. Here they do about 2 laps in a minute, so if anyone wants to do that math here pretty quickly, I mean, still an hour left of racing, but time continuing to click on by as they continue to click down laps. Mike Kelly, big move on Brandon Guerin into turn number 3. Kelly able to drive it in there deep, make it stick on the bottom side. Kelly will leave the top side open. Very courteous from the 43 machine, as he was clear for a split second, could have slammed the door, decided not to, but here through 1 and 2, 43 machine probably going to be able to get clear, as Mike Kelly going to continue to drive his way up through the front of this one. Landon Audit here getting the momentum built back up in that 15 machine, going to stay right on the back bumper here of Brandon Guerin. So Audit first car from the top 5 from the outside looking in, looking to get back into the top 5 here. As let's take a look here, see what happened to Bryson Anderson here off of turn number 2 to the 32 machine. As it looks like no real trouble, just bringing that thing down on the apron, calling it. So not sure what kind of issue, but definitely having something for Anderson, as he'll be our first and only retirement so far here tonight. Frank Zingen now trying to hold off Mike Kelly in that 43 machine. Kelly shading low here down through the front stretch, through the tribal, but into turn number 1. Going to drive that thing in there deep, pick up the throttle early. Going to try and get to the right rear quarter panel. Going to do just that there through 1 and 2. Power move once again from that 43 machine as Kelly now up into the podium spots. Mike Kelly up into P number 3, but Johnny Barker, he is checked on out in front of this one. Barker up over 3 seconds over Dustin Coggin, who has company now from Mike Kelly. Kelly now taking a peek to the inside, side-by-side battle for P number 2. Don't look now, folks, but Rob Lowell now into the mix here in this kind of top 5 battle. Coggin able to hang strong to the top side of Kelly. Those two going to go side-by-side down the whole front straightaway. So Coggin trying to put up a good fight, though. Kelly, once again, good move through 1 and 2, nice and smooth. Able to wrap that bottom side. We'll see if Coggin has the crossover here down the back straightaway. Looks like will not. Will stay in line. Mike Kelly now up into P number 2. As like I said, here comes that 21 machine as well. Rob Lowell around Brandon Guerin. Now looking to get around Landon Audit. And these guys may be 3 wide here. We'll see if Brandon Guerin will push the envelope. He will not, as those guys just able to slot into a single file line in the heading into turn number 1. Under 100 laps left in this one. We are now to double digits laps. As almost contact there between Rob Lowell and Brandon Guerin. Not sure if the 21 put the one in the wall. If he didn't, it was inches from happening. As Rob Lowell will try and get around Landon Audit. Audit going to keep the momentum wound on up in that 15 machine. So going to try and hold strong here through 1 and 2. Though Rob Lowell will drive it in there deep, slide up to that top lane, take that line on away. Audit will try the crossover here, but looks like won't quite have enough of a run. So Rob Lowell into the top 5 here once again. Deeper in the field here, Grant Humphrey able to get around Steve Ritter. So that was a pass for that 9th position here tonight. And an Audit a little bit slow there through 3 and 4. That allows Brandon Guerin to get on by. So Audit now back down into P number 7 here currently. As 13 cars still out on the racetrack, of course. 13 cars still racing out here tonight. Mike Kelly now about 3 seconds back from Johnny Barker. So that 43 machine will have to try and put the move on, but like I said, with the pit stops, how it all shakes on out, Kelly could still have a lot of time, and we see very, very massive tire fall-offs. I mean, already here tonight, we already see over a second of fall-off in these first 30 laps, so expect that continue to fall off. These cars get slower and slower. The handling continuing to go on away here tonight. As here we go, another driver taking care of his stuff early in this one. Joe Hudson now trying to get some spots back. Currently now around Landon Audit, now trying to get around Brandon Guerin for that 6th spot. Hudson able to kind of enter in the same line as the 1 car, get that car to turn on down. Guerin got a little bit tight there on the exit turn number 2, had to pedal that race car a little bit. That will lose him a lot of time there and lose that spot to the 23 machine. Brings Landon Audit back into the mix, and now here comes Grant Humphrey as well. Right in front of them, Rob Lowell, Frank Zingen, now side by side out here on the Speedway. Zingen will let the 21 machine go on by, so Lowell now up into P number 2. Now trying to track down Dustin Coggin for that 3rd position here. And especially with the car count, the caliber of drivers here tonight, I think it'll be hard pressed to see a caution flag fall at some point here tonight. Of course, now I gotta go knock on some wood, make sure I didn't just jinx everything, but that is what my gut is telling me. As here we go, we see the move from Grant Humphrey here on the one machine. Humphrey gonna be able to complete the pass there off of turn number 2, so Humphrey now up to P number 7. Gonna make him the second biggest mover of the race here currently. The biggest mover though gonna be the 43 machine of Mike Kelly, and checking in on Mike Kelly, now about 2.2 seconds back from Johnny Barker, so already over 3/4 of a second erased for Mike Kelly, tracking down this race leader here. So last time by Mike Kelly a 33.15, Johnny Barker a 33.35, so that goes to show the pace difference already right there between the two of them. Good battle here once again. Landon Audit, Brandon Guerin once again duking it out. Those two have been fighting for that same spot. It seems like these first probably 30 or so laps here, the 15 and 1 putting on a great battle between one another. Now here comes Steve Ritter into the mix here in that 61 machine. Oh, we hear a call here to pit road. Rob Lowell down to pit road, having some right front damage on that race car. And yeah, we can see it here. Rob Lowell, big time damage, even more now as a 21 machine hard into the inside wall, and that will probably put a night end to Rob Lowell as he was making his way very nicely up through the field here, but that will come to an end here on lap number 40. As I was just about to say, pit road could kind of start to get busy as drivers that maybe wanted to flip the script, come down and make this race a two-stopper. That opportunity definitely starting to be underway here on lap 40, because you know you could do it 40, 80, and then be there at the end, or do like 45, 90, and then be good at the end. But you know, if you can make it on a one stop, it could be a very, very tough choice for these drivers, as well as the crew chiefs up on the box here tonight. Grant Humphrey now around Frank Zingen for a top 5 spot, so Humphrey continues to make his way up through the field. Also another car here down on pit road. I believe the 10 machine of Rick Kennedy here down on pit road, so we'll see if that is for service. It kind of does not look like it. Looks like Rick Kennedy out of the race car, so that will maybe move about 11 cars now out on the speedway, as now Mike Kelly within a second of Johnny Barker. We head back here to a good battle between 4 race cars out here on the speedway. We have Logan Koger, Landon Audit, Steve Ritter, Ron Holyfield, all in a good battle right here, as Logan Koger here trying to rebound from starting on pit road. Now up into 6, we see our first taker on kind of the alternate strategy, as Frank Zingen, the first car to head down pit road. The 62 machine going to get service. Same with the 1 car of Brandon Guerin. So I like that call from both of them, as they were starting to lose a little bit of time. Same with the 46 machine of Dustin Coggin. All 3 of those cars part of the same team, all down on pit road here before lap 45. Now, if you're Johnny Barker, seeing that, you know, Mike Kelly's reeling you on in, do you then head down pit road here on like 45, 46 as soon as you get past? Do you then jump down pit road and see if you can make that strategy work? Because like I said, we already see closing on up to about 2-second fall off here in these 45 laps. So that's only going to get worse, as drivers on these new tires like Dustin Coggin, Frank Zingen, Brandon Guerin are going to be able to make up a lot of time here in a hurry. Of course, you know, they sit quite a bit back on track position, but going to be able to make up a lot of time, as here comes Mike Kelly challenging for the race lead side by side here off of turn number 4. Kelly down low, Barker up top and at the stripe. It will be a new race leader. Mike Kelly takes over the point. He is now our current race leader here as we complete 45 of the 130 laps here tonight. Another driver that pushed on early towards the front, started to fade on back. The 15 machine of Landon Audit here down on pit road, so we'll see what he can do. And it looks like Rick Kennedy may have gotten a pit road penalty, so that may have taken the 10 car out of this race, and he is out of the race here currently. Another car here heading down pit road. That will be the 23 machine of Joe Hudson. So Hudson will bring it down pit road here in this one. So that will leave, about 6 cars yet to pit in this first green flag pit cycle here in this one. As Mike Kelly's starting to put up a big advantage here over Johnny Barker, now over a second advantage. So Johnny Barker has to be thinking about heading to pit road here sooner than later for that 6 machine. Logan Koger here, Ron Holyfield, pretty close for position here for 4th and 5th. Those cars about 2 car lengths separated, the 80 and the 25. We just saw there the 46 of Dustin Coggin and the 62 of Frank Zingen go flying on by. Of course, those 2 cars on those fresh tires here tonight. So Holyfield here taking a peek to the inside of Logan Koger. Going to be able to get that position to the inside. So it's going to be a heads-up drag race into turn number 1 in the 25 with a deep send into the corner. Going to be able to make it stick. And Ron Holyfield going to get that spot back from Koger. And that would be P number 4 currently as they run. Like I said, another battle for position. That would be the battle for the lucky dog spot, as the 46 machine of Coggin right now giving chase to Frank Zingen. Those 2 running about 2 car lengths apart from one another, as now we see the 6 car here of Johnny Barker here heading down pit road. So now that leaves only 5 cars here to pit yet in the green flag pit stop cycle here tonight. And it looks like here we have the 21 machine from the infield care center. So we'll try and get a word here from Rob Lowell here in just one moment here from the 21 machine. As actually I think he maybe just took off from the infield care center. So Rob, if you're tuning on in, feel free to jump on back. We'll get a word with you here in just a moment. As we see some more cars here down on pit road. Logan Koger here down on 51. Same with the 61 car of Steve Ritter. Now that leaves only 3 cars yet to pit here. Mike Kelly, Grant Humphrey, and Ron Holyfield. Remember, it seems like Mike Kelly having one of the cars to beat in the long run. Going to try and run this out as long as possible. And right when I'm saying that, we see Grant Humphrey and Ron Holyfield here down on pit road. So that will now only leave here Mike Kelly out here on the Speedway. As here we go, we got a word from the 21 machine. We got Rob Lowell here up in the booth. Rob, what happened out there?
The driver made a mistake coming to pit road.
Oh yeah, we hate to see that. We kind of heard the call out. We heard maybe a little bit of front end damage on that car as well. Was that thing ill handling as well?
I thought I might have, because I got the wall off too, but no, I planned on pitting there anyways. I was kind of trying to give a little head fake to the guys ahead of me, but I came down pit road and I'm trying to learn how to just. I've always been an auto blip guy for shifting, and I talked with some guys and they told me that you really need to get rid of the auto blip and go back to the anti-stall clutch and learn to shift just by burping the gas and stuff. So I came off turn 4 there and forgot to burp the throttle to get it to downshift, and I'm going too fast and I jumped on the brakes and got it loose and got it the nose of the wall, and didn't think I hit it that hard, but it was like 9 minutes of damage and smoking, so my night's done.
Yeah, definitely a tough break there. And I mean, this track definitely not an easy one to get down pit road. I mean, the banking, the lack of grips, all there, and then kind of a short entry to pit road. I mean, if you don't use the apron too much, that's sketchy in and of itself, right? But then you got to try and wall that thing on up. And we saw, of course, with you there, a pretty good impact, like you said, to that inside wall. As now that concludes the green flag pit stops here. What do we think of the call from the drivers there? To some a little bit sooner, some a little bit later. We know the name of the game here at Atlanta: tires, tires, tires.
Yeah, I dropped back. You know, I sunk like a rock in the lake there early because I didn't want to be up there pushing hard, and it was paying off. The one that was faster than me there in that long run was Mike. And then I was just going to kind of stick to what my strategy has been the last couple times I've won here in a cup car, and that's try to pit, you know, right around just for everyone else, maybe a couple laps before, like lap 45. Then you get some separation, you get out of the pack, and then you can run the line you want. Be really easy on the tires. Go like 50 laps there, and then do like 40 at the end. And I just screwed up coming to the pits. I like the position I was in there. Just the key to the land is minimize your wheel input and take care of your stuff. So if you can get out and run by yourself, it's really easy to do that.
Yeah, that it is. And, you know, those tires definitely paying on off. But it seems like, you know, with similar tires or similar pace, this track is pretty tough to make a pass, let's say, because that top side seems like you can carry some momentum, though we know that top side, not the friendliest when it comes to that tire wear, though.
No, usually it's not, but honestly, both in the Cup car and here tonight with this car, the penalty for being up top is nowhere near as bad. I was shocked with the Cup car practice this week. It really shocked me with this, and I'll be honest with you, this last update with these O'Reilly cars, or Busch cars as we call them, it's kind of flipped the script on them. They've always been really free and stuff. In the last 2 weeks since the update, they've been tight, and I mean really tight. Tonight they're just dump truck tight, like a bulldozer plowing. So if I had to say which car handles better in the long run, right now it's this O'Reilly car. The Cup car gets extremely loose, and myself and Barker, Nick Larson, Ritter, we've all practiced at some point this week together, and we're all fighting super loose after like 20-25 laps. So Sunday in the Cup Series, first round of playoffs is gonna be really interesting. We've got to put some more time in the sim this weekend trying to figure it out, but even Johnny, who likes to lay on the right rear in a loose race car, it's uncomfortable loose for him after lap 20, so should be interesting.
Yeah, that it will be, and like you said, Rob, going to be the first race of the round of 5, big time stakes, and you know, you're able, of course, to just sneak in there to that round of 5. You're racing for a shot at the championship. Same with your teammate, like you said, Johnny Barker and Nick Larson. How you guys preparing? Like, it sounds like a lot of practice already being done. How do you guys feel about these next 3 races, and how excited are you to be fighting for that championship? Because man, it came down to those last few laps last Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I knew I had a good car at Homestead in the Cup Series. I drove from 18th to 8th there when Steve and I got together, and I ended up I was stuck on the track. It just wasn't moving. Talking to Brandon, he had the same problem on the same time. I thought my night was done. I thought I had broke a transaxle or something. The car wouldn't move. I ended up towing. And then when I got back to the pits, I had 48 seconds of damage. It's like, well, why couldn't I move? I think we can think of as progressive banking had it belly on. And I kept telling those guys, I'm like, hey, if I can get back on the lead lap, I got something for this. And you know, we got lucky there. I don't know, was it 15, 16 to go? Got back on the lead lap. I was 18th, and there was a whole gaggle of cars, and I said, there's no way. If I go up there and try to race them right now, I'm just gonna burn my right front up. So I kind of took a chance. I let them get away by probably a third of a straightaway, and I just kept my tires cool, and I let them race hard for 7-8 laps. And my plan was if I had to go to turn it loose, and I said, you know, if they've got their right front hot and slimy, I should be able to drive right through them. And I lucked out. They got raced side by side. They heated their stuff up, and then I drove up there and could just carve through them. And I went from 18th to 11th in the last 4 laps. So felt bad. It was bittersweet. Ended up knocking out my other teammate, Steve Ritter. But, you know, we knew it was a long shot to try to get 4 or 5 of us in. And the fact that 3 of us are in going for a championship means a lot to our team. And we're an open book with each other. We practice weekly with each other, nightly, and one of us finds something, we share it. Last night I found a way to, got down. I was like 3/10 faster than the guys in qualifying, and I told them what I did, and they went out and they matched my time. So, looking forward to this weekend, and it's fun when you have a great team with you that works together.
Yeah, that it is. It always makes it that much more special here, Rob. And yeah, your team's looking very strong here recently. And right as we approach the halfway point here, one of your teammates out in front, Johnny Barker, leading the way, trying to make it 2 in a row on a Friday night. How's that 6 car looking from your eyes here outside of the car now?
Looks good. Johnny had I'd say short and mid-range speed there. And then Mike came up there and kind of snuck by him in the last 10, 15 laps of that run. The teammate I'm kind of interested to see what happens here is that 61 of Ritter. I think he's trying to save a little bit here. Through that first run, he was probably feeling out his tires. Steve likes to see what he's got for tire wear on the first run and then adjust from there. And he's 10 seconds back, but I just got a feeling before it's out, he's going to be there in the top 5.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's always known to do that. Just keep on grinding throughout a race, being right there. But yeah, he's got to be a little bit careful as 3 cars kind of closing in on him. And we know dirty air, always tough to deal with here. So I'm sure he's kind of looking in the mirror trying to set his pace also on the cars behind him, as well as keeping those tires and keeping what he wants to do right, continuing this run.
Yeah, the other car that was fast on the last part of that run before was a 25 Holyfield. Him and Joe both had come up through there. Joe kind of maintained position during the pit stop cycle, but it's gonna be interesting. I think the surprise is that the 80 car, he's back there at 9th, and he started in the pits, and I would have thought he would have marched up through there. I don't know, with as tight as this setup is. I know Logan's really good on the loose car. Maybe he doesn't like the tightness. There's kind of some guys up front that we probably wouldn't expect at this point. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, Kelly expect, Dustin, but it's just this tight car is just throwing everyone for a loop. I don't think anyone expected it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I tell you what, that can definitely throw a big wrench at things, but a driver that looked sporty on the long run kind of fell, but came to pits early to kind of rebound it and, running some decent pace. Landon Audit has been hovering right around that top 5 all night here tonight, and right now running in 6. That's a pretty good run there from that 15 machine as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and, Landon's, you've seen his progression all season. He's racing a lot between here and Sim 500, and it's showing. He's picking up speed. He's picking up track position every time we race. And when he comes over and runs in the Cup Series with us, he's run good there too. So it's nice to see these guys out there. Friday night this time of year is tough. Everyone's at the real racetrack or doing things with their family. You got barbecue nights and stuff. But we got this week and 2 more weeks, and that'll be it for the Busch Series for a few weeks. I know you're taking the summer off from broadcast and you're going to go live life. But, we're going to get you in on Thursday nights racing just a little bit in the Next Gen Elite Series. So everyone's looking forward to that. Got a lot of positive response for that, Brett. So it's going to be good to have you on the track again with us.
Yeah, that it is. And I tell you what, they are training some pain. Oh, as Steve Ritter goes around, big hit to him as Ron Holyfield's collected. But man, I saw that brewing for about 2 laps there, and Steve Ritter coming out of the worst end of that, some 3 wide ping pong and maybe gone wrong.
Yeah, it's as the season's gone on, the give and take has become less give and more take, it seems like. So, everyone's racing for, and I think the thing you got to remember there is Steve and Brandon are racing for points. They're I want to say they're 3rd and 4th in points, right?
Yep, so, that they are separated by less than 20 points between them.
Yeah. So, neither one of them is going to give any there, or, you can't blame them. They're racing for points. So.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough break there to Steve Ritter. A lot of damage on that race car, probably going to be done for the night. Looks like Brandon Guerin and Logan Koger, both going to maybe have a little bit of damage. But yeah, Rob, you mentioned, some cool stuff coming on up with the 802 with, that new Thursday night series. I'll be behind the wheel for hopefully most of the season with that. What else do you got planned? I know you guys are already cooking up some good stuff for the fall and the summertime as well.
Yeah, we're hoping by next Friday night to announce maybe I guess we'd call it our 5th or 6th league. ARCA's kind of taking a break. Saturday mornings didn't work with that. We haven't given up on an ARCA league, but we got something else cooking maybe for Tuesday nights. So Brandon's and another member of the league's working on that. Hoping to announce something there this coming week. And then this coming Sunday night, join you in the booth is going to be Season 4 Cup Series champion John Ross. So John's on the podcast tonight. He's really looking forward to getting in the booth with you. He's the Grand Marshal. The Wolfpack's running the paint jobs of all 5 of our season champions as a tribute during the throwback race Sunday night. So, yeah, got a lot going on.
Yeah, definitely a lot of cool stuff here cooking with the 802 iRacing League and some strategy calls being made. Some drivers not coming down pit road, some taking fuel, some taking that last set of tires. Is it too early to take that last set of tires with over, 60 laps left?
Yeah, I would not be taking tires here.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get a caution, but everyone's had to come get fuel. You can go about 51, 52. I don't know. Maybe someone can clutch and get 60. I think it's going to be tight. I wouldn't be bolting tires on here, but if you can, maybe more I think about it, maybe you bolt the tires on here and you go hard and you try to build a lead, and then you come in for a splash and go with under 10 to go. Who knows? This is what I'm dreading about Sunday night in the Cup. Here is the strategy, and it's making it worse with teammates because someone's gonna want to go long and try to get a bonus point. Someone's teammate's gonna stay out to block that, and it's just gonna be wild. The more I think about this, maybe the play is now take tires. That way, if you don't get a caution, you just come and get a splash and go. And if you don't take tires here, you got probably 20 laps on them. Some guys have 25. Yeah, I think maybe the play is take tires here. The more I think about it.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's definitely a toss-up. Would hate to be on top of the pit box to make this call here, but I do like that call of maybe taking those tires, a splash and go. Maybe some old-school Atlanta racing here coming down to the end of this one.
Yeah, and actually, we're going to be like 55 to go when we go green, so you come down with 1 to go and top off. You could probably clutch. It's 51. I was at 51.8. Yeah, you only got to clutch. You only got to gain 3 laps. You can clutch this and make it on fuel. So, more I think about it, the plays take tires and clutch and get your 3 laps.
Yeah.
So someone's gonna go. If this stays green, the guys that tires and fuel here, one of them's gonna win it.
Yeah, I tell you what, Brandon Guerin as well as Frank Zingen both topping off on that final lap there under caution as we head back to green. Dustin Coggin here leading the way over Mike Kelly, and now here comes Logan Koger and Joe Hudson. Those two, almost some contact there off of turn number 2.
Yeah, and we've seen Brandon especially play this fuel game like a maestro many times. He's won quite a few races on fuel mileage, and he hasn't even caught the pack. Worried about catching the pack here. He's 2 seconds back, and that's by design. He's going to be clutching and saving fuel here. So Brandon's 100% on a fuel mileage run here. Don't look for him to close it up. I expect him to, he needs to probably stay within 30 seconds of these guys. 40 seconds. If he's 40 seconds back with 20 to go, he's probably going to make it up fuel and win this. So if this stays green, I'd say Brandon and Frank are looking pretty good.
Yeah, and here comes your teammate Johnny Barker. He was one of those drivers to take tires there under that stop. And Johnny Barker here back to the point in this one. I think he might be doing that other strategy you talked about, Rob, going as hard as he can, do a little splash and go at the end and see where he shakes on out.
Yeah, Johnny's like a wild dog, there's no you don't pull the reins back on him. He's not the guy that's gonna lay back there and try to luck into something that way. Not really luck, strategy, but Johnny's gonna go try to force guys to burn fuel. Believe me, he's thinking, hey, if I can put them, if I get them almost a lap down or even a lap down, now they got to go a little bit harder to try to stay where they can. When they come back out, I can beat them. Johnny's gonna push hard here. He's made his bet. He's gonna have to push hard and try to make it. It looks like some of these other guys are maybe on an in-between strategy. They're not pushing as hard, and I think they're racing hard to try to keep track position, but they're also hoping to be able to save enough fuel at the back end of this. So I'm looking at Kelly, Hudson, Goggin, Kogar. I would say they're hoping to stretch it. Johnny's pace, he's not gonna, but these guys, maybe they can. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because 2 laps ago, Johnny Barker put down the best lap of anyone during the race, a 31.22. So that tells me one thing: Barker is on the move right now, and he's putting the pedal to the metal. And I mean, we can see that already in the standings, already 2.5 seconds over the rest of the field.
Yeah, and look at Zingen and Brandon, 8 seconds back almost. Those guys they're doing just that. They've got the parachute out. They're trying to maximum conserve, probably clutching. If you go in car, I'm sure they're clutching, maybe shutting the car off in the corner, trying to save every ounce they can to make it.
Yeah, we're riding on board right now with Brandon Guerin, and he's doing just that. One run in the bottom side, both ends, and we hear him pushing in the clutch pedal, dropping down those RPMs, trying to save every single drop of fuel he can in that one car.
Yeah, I mean, that's vintage Brandon, vintage Frank, 2 really smart racers. By this point in the race, they knew they didn't have the speed to go up there and win it in a straight-up speed contest, so they're going to try to win it the easiest way there is. Go farther than your opponents can and make one less stop. I mean, we've seen it time and time again on Saturday and Sundays in real life, and these 2 guys are really good at it. Brandon's won a bunch this way. I'd probably say 3 or 4 that I could think of, and it doesn't surprise me a bit that him or Frank are being aggressive and going for this.
Yeah, and I tell you what, right now they're running about a second off the pace of Johnny Barker, but we see a second fall off in tires, in 15, 20 laps. So if they can manage this pace even with clutching, they could be right on par with the pace they need to be as quickly as 100 laps into this race.
Yeah, and right now they're a second off, but another 20 laps, it's probably going to be half a second or less. And by the time we get to, like you say, 100, 110, they're probably going to be a couple tenths off Johnny's pace. Johnny's going to slow down. These guys by nature are not going to have as much fall off because they're not abusing their tires right now. So look for that gap to start to stabilize. I'd say probably around lap 100, 105, that gap should start really stabilizing. And I'd say by 110, 115, don't be surprised if they're starting to eat into Johnny's lead a little bit.
Yeah, that's definitely something we are going to keep an eye on here as that time kind of rolls around. As Logan Koger there into the wall there off of turn number 2. And this is a big battle for position right now between him and Coggin, because this is 1 and 2 in points right here as well. I mean, that's got to be a little bit extra pressure, right? As we get later in the season, these guys know this spot really matters, and it can create some mistakes that you're not accustomed to doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if Logan's feeling a ton of pressure right now. He knows there's only 9 of them left on the racing out there. So if he falls out, the worst he finishes 9th. And if Dustin wins it, it's going to be 7 points, and then so it's going to be like a 12-point difference. So with a 35-point cushion, I'm not sure that Logan is that worried right now. He's probably, I'd say he's racing trying to get a top 5 here, and if I was him, I wouldn't be thinking points right now. A 9th place finish is going to hurt you that bad.
Yeah, that it is not, and if Logan can get another top 5, I'll put him, of course, even more in the lead for the most ever on the season. I'd make it then 13 for the 80 machine. So pretty impressive stuff from Logan this season. And, you know, full-time season, I should say first full-time season racing with the 802 guys and looking pretty well off for that first championship as well. That's awesome to see.
Yeah, he's been there week in and week out, right? You know, it would have been interesting to see if guys like Mike Kelly and Chad Coleman had been here all season, how it would have shaken out, or even if Cody Gibson had been able to run the full season with us. But things didn't work out that way. Dustin and Logan have had a great battle. You know, Brandon's been there. Just over this stretch run, there's some guys have had some bad luck, and it's kind of stretched out a little bit. But hey, you know, the next 2 weeks, we go to Kansas, we go to Nashville next week. Those tracks people like to run, we could see 20, 25 cars, and in a blink of an eye, things could change.
Yeah, that is definitely very, very true because, you know, no points cushion is guaranteed until you have over, you know, a full field limit. And, you know, Logan's not quite there. He's pretty close to one, but like you said, we get a lot of cars all of a sudden. That could change a lot. I mean, we kind of saw that almost a little bit on last Sunday night as well. I mean, with the cars that came in there, that shook up things quite a bit in how well they ran.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brent, touch on what we were talking about a minute ago. I got my telemetry up going here. I actually just logged back into the race. And Brandon Gran, the only car over the last 5 laps that's been faster than Brandon Gran is Johnny Barker. Brandon's last 5-lap average is a 32.590. Johnny Barker's is a 32.44. But here we are, where we're lap 89. So we haven't even got. I thought it'd take lap 100 before the speed stabilized, the gap stabilized. I was wrong. Lap 90, and the only car faster than Brandon Gran right now is Johnny Barker.
Yeah, and I tell you what, big pass right there. Brandon Gran able to get around his teammate Frank Zingen. Those two, you know, we're thinking about could make it on fuel. That's a big pass right there. And, you know, you got to wonder from the one car, did he super save at the start of the run? Now the fuel gauge might be saying he's good, and now he could be maybe even picking up the pace and just now maintaining from here on out.
He's still clutching, and he's clutching a long ways. Last lap, he was a 32.59. Barker's a 32.53. Everyone else is in. Mike Kelly's the third fastest car on the track at a 32.77. Everyone else on the track is in the 33s, except for Frank Zingen, but he's the 32.9. Brandon is beating Johnny last lap by 0.2, and he's beating everyone else by at least 3. So this is pretty amazing that not only is he saving fuel, but you go another couple laps here, Brandon's 5-lap average is going to surpass Johnny. So, kind of goes to show what we had early in the race. You know, myself, Joe Hudson, some of us had fallen back, and we're just crawling around the bottom, saving tires. This right here shows long run, slower is faster, and if Brandon can make it on fuel, there's no one's gonna drive by him at this point because right now he's got better tires than anyone except probably Barker.
Yeah, and we see our first taker here down to pit road, kind of splitting this run kind of in half. Not quite Joe Hudson here down on pit road. I don't know if I like this call here because I think you kind of made your bed. You probably running this thing out to empty if you can, right?
Yeah, that kind of leaves me baffled because if a caution comes out now, Joe's in trouble, right? So unless you did the Frank and Brandon plan and you topped off and you've been trying to save to make it, you just go hard here and you hope for a yellow to save you, or you know, you hope you can save enough tires and when you pit, you take less fuel than them guys and you can pass them on the track. But I don't see a plus to what Joe just did there. I don't see how that works out as a benefit to him.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And yeah, here comes now Brandon Guerin running down Logan Koger and Dustin Coggin. So like you were just talking about, Rob, this one machine is on the move and on the move in a hurry and still having, you know, 35 plus laps to do so.
Yeah, and he's still clutching. Now, Barker is still turning 30. Last lap was a 32.69, and Brandon was a 32.82. So not only is Barker matching his time, he's a little bit better, but we know Johnny can't make it on fuel. So Johnny's just trying to build whatever lead he can, and that lap, he was actually Brandon beat him by half a second that lap. Parker was a 33 too. So, yeah, Johnny, Kelly, Kogar, those guys are all in trouble. This one car can probably make it on fuel. He's still clutching and saving. The only one that's got a chance at beating Brandon, I think, is Frank.
And I tell you what, the one car did pick up a win, I believe, back at Michigan, and that was kind of a little bit of a fuel mileage, but also came down to a late race pit stop there. So one car here, another kind of strategy race, another tough track here, looking to maybe add another win. But of course, Johnny Barker is still trying for that two-peat on Friday nights.
Yeah, and Johnny's been fast. It was funny, Brett. In practice, all my radio was complete. I don't make Johnny sound like he was complaining, but he was complaining. He hates a tight race car, and these cars are tight tonight. And I know we were 15 laps in, and Johnny's walking away from the field, and I go, Johnny, what's this crap? You're complaining about a tight car, but you're whipping on us. So Johnny's been fast. He's taken him half a season, but he's figured these Xfinity cars out, or O'Reilly cars, Busch cars, whatever you want to call them. It's kind of too bad the season's getting over towards the end here, but I'm still in Brandon's car. He's still clutching, so that tells me he's got to be close on fuel. But if he thought that he wasn't going to make it, he would have stopped clutching and been going for long-term speed. So his telemetry must be telling him he can make it on fuel. And I think it's a classic case. He was playing chess, and these other guys have probably been playing checkers.
Yeah, that it looks like it could be, but everything always changes with a caution here. I was going to be surprised if we got one. We, of course, got one kind of a big one here, but right now everyone's kind of spread on out. Only real kind of cars battling. Joe Hudson making his way on those fresh tires up through, but it's pretty much going to come down to Logan Kogar, Dustin Coggin to have an incident between those two, or maybe just a single car incident would really shake things on up. But if these next 30 laps go green, it's looking pretty well from that one camp here tonight. As we see Coggin here down on pit road, he was one of the few cars that did not pit under that last caution.
Yeah, and I'm watching Mike Kelly right now. He's 8 seconds back to Johnny. He went down in the 33s, and now he's back like 32.9. He's actually a little bit faster than Brendan is right now. He's still giving time up to Johnny a little bit here and there. But did Mike Kelly save enough to get there?
Yeah, that would be very impressive to see, especially because we're right on board with Kelly right now, and I don't hear him pushing that clutch pedal, and he's running the top side. I mean, both those things, drain a lot of fuel and, shorten that fuel mileage by quite a bit.
Yeah, he took his tires, but he didn't come in top off, so I just jumped in his car too, and he's driving it pretty deep in on the top, and then he's back in the throttle before right at the apex, if anything. So yeah, I don't know, but the way he's driving, but if he could make it on fuel, I would expect him to be trying to save a little bit more so he could go farther. I don't know here. Because we know Mike has the pace to do what Johnny did, try to build a lead to negate some of the penalty for having to come in again. That's what has me wondering here, Brett, is because Mike has the speed as Johnny does to build up that, he's taken almost a second off Johnny in the last 3 laps. He's 7.5 seconds back, but Mike has the speed to be where Johnny is, so I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
We're not going to know till he makes it or runs out.
Exactly. Definitely an interesting call here, but Mike Kelly, I'm sure, has more laps than, any of us here at this Atlanta track, especially being the old version. So he might have something kind of cooking on up as I was taking a look at kind of the gaps, and Frank Zingen for a second was catching Brandon Guerin, has kind of since leveled off, but maybe that 62 machine also basing his pace on the one, and maybe if he saves his stuff there, like I said, it could be a battle between these two for this race win as well.
Yeah, I just jumped into Frank, and it looks like Brandon might be starting to get a little tight in the middle. At least that last lap through 3 and 4, he kind of diamonded it a little bit. He came up off the bottom. The other thing I noticed is Frank isn't clutching. Frank is just out of the gas a long time.
Yeah, and Brandon Guerin could be getting tight because with clutching, you don't get that engine brake to slow up the car, so you could have a little bit more center speed than you'd like because, it's a whole different ball game to try and clutch and enter a corner that, he could have burned off his right front a little bit more than he wanted and could be losing the handling of the race car. And we know here at Atlanta, once that starts happening, it's really hard to get the handling back underneath you.
Absolutely, and then you start putting so much wheel in and try to get the car to turn, then you get to where it might snap loose on you. So, I'm watching Frank, and Frank's able to just roll that bottom really good. Brandon still can fairly decent in 3 and 4. It looks like maybe like 1 and 2 is where Brandon's struggling, but he's starting to slowly inch back away from Frank here. So, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely some
this is
cat
why we
and
watch
mouse.
it, right?
Yeah, definitely cat and mouse games going on here tonight. Yeah, now the gap about 3/4 of a second as we now see, Dustin Coggan go on by with those fresh tires. Landon Audit now down on pit road. Here comes Mike Kelly as well. So Kelly short on fuel down on pit road here with about 24 to go.
So Johnny, I would expect Johnny to be coming anytime. One other thing about Brandon is a rear brake fiend. He puts a ton of rear brake in his car. So I'd expect Brandon to be a little bit freer than other guys. So I kind of wonder maybe he's having to be easy into the corner like that and drift up so the car doesn't get loose on him. But as we're talking about it, Frank's trying to drive back in on him, and this is going to be the battle for the race win. We're assuming they both can make it, and right now, I think Frank's advantage zinging.
Yeah, he definitely has that reference right in front of him kind of for this pace here. Can, save or push when he needs to. And Brandon Guerin's going to have a little bit of Mike Kelly going on by. That could hurt him just for that little bit, but that little bit could be all that it matters. But also another kind of big point, Johnny Barker out in front, a little bit of right front damage now on the 6 car. That's not going to help the fuel mileage of that car, nor probably the handling as well.
No, and I'm sure Johnny got in the wall, probably off, if I had to guess, I'd say off of turn 4 somewhere along the way. Turn 4 is where it really seems to narrow up on you, especially if, I know at times Johnny likes to move to the top down there, so. Johnny's going to be coming to the pits here anytime, and, with only 12-second lead on Brandon and Frank, 12.3, 12.7, he's going to lose the lead to these guys, and then it's just a matter of, how much time. Right now, if I was in our team Discord, I'd be telling Johnny, you need to pit now because he's given up massive. He's given up right now he's given up 2 seconds a lap to Mike Kelly. So he had 7 laps on Mike Kelly. Mike's been out here 4 laps already. Johnny's going to give up a spot to Mike Kelly just with the advantage on the tires that Mike has. So Johnny's gone too long here. As soon as he knew Mike Kelly went to the pits, Johnny should have gone the next lap.
Yeah, I tell you what, Mike Kelly did have those set of tires in the pits. I don't think Johnny does as well, so definitely another kind of X factor to throw into this one. But yeah, Rob, if you need to go teammate talk it on up, feel free to jump on down. But if not, we enjoy having you up here in the booth here, especially to call the end of this race as well. It's totally up to you. Yeah,
no, I mean, Johnny's bed's made. I forgot Johnny took his last set, that last caution, and Mike didn't. So, yeah, I'm interested to see here. I think Frank's got the speed to get by Brandon at this point.
Yeah, now that gap, down to 2 car lengths between them. So, this has got to be tough, right? Because, you want to push, but you can't push too much because you don't want to take yourself out of the fuel amount, to get you to the end. So it's a really tough game that I assume both of them are trying to play with each other here, right?
Yeah, and I'd say my guess is Frank is closer on fuel than Brandon. Brandon was clutching, and from what we've seen, Frank wasn't. I've only jumped in Frank's car probably 15 laps ago, but Frank has not clutched once since then. And I'm just jumping in right now here to see if Brandon's clutching still. Brandon's still clutching. So just by the nature of clutching, Brandon's going to have more fuel reserve. So, talk about the X factor. We get to 5 to go and Frank cranks up the pressure. Brandon can go hard because he's going to have more fuel. So.
Yeah, definitely going to be really interesting to see how this next about 17 or so laps of shakedown out is. Yeah, now Frank Zingen through 1 and 2 once again within that car length. The course stretches on out as Brandon Guerin gets a good run off of the corner. But yeah, like you said, it's going to come down probably between these two on who can make it and who will be up in front here at the end right before they run on out, because it's still going to be oh so close on that fuel mileage.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about, what was it, in almost, 50 laps ago now, when that last caution, we said that we liked these two guys' strategy, and then I was just talking about Brandon's fuel advantage. Let's go back to your point where clutching, Brandon doesn't have that engine braking as much, so he's probably laying on that right front a little bit harder every lap through the corners, and Frank probably has a little bit of a tire advantage. And if Frank has an extra lap or two in the tank than he needs, then Frank's tire advantage probably is going to come out on top compared to the fuel advantage that Brandon that we know has.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Mike Kelly eating away about just under 2 seconds a lap. He's going to come up just short, with 15 to go, because he's now about 20 seconds back from Brandon Guerin and Frank Zingen. So if either of those two have to really back up the pace, this 43's trying to hustle as much as he can, but I think it's just going to be short, but I think he's for sure going to be in the same corner by the time they get to that checkered flag.
Yeah, so these guys are 33.2. Mike Kelly's a 31.8. That's a second and a half. Second over half of 13 laps. We're talking Mike Kelly's going to get there. If he keeps beating him by a second and a half or a second and a quarter lap with 13 to go and he's 14 seconds back, 15 seconds back, Mike Kelly will get there.
Yeah, it's going to be really close here. We got to wonder the fall off from that 43 machine. How much tire does he have in that race car left for this run to kind of push as hard as he can these last 13 laps here, because now that 43 machine within half a track of second and third, because Johnny Barker still out here gonna try and run this thing till it's completely empty and have a little splash and go here at the end.
Yeah, this is way more wild than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, that it is. Point. And just to throw an X factor, Frank Zingen able to get around Brandon Guerin there off of turn number 4, so the 62 machine now up into second.
Yeah. Man, I did not see this coming 30 laps ago. I don't think you did either.
Yeah, no way. This totally surprised me, and to have the 43 machine maybe be a factor by the end of this as well, wow, that could be a total X factor that definitely no one saw coming.
Yeah. Let's see, last lap, Kelly was a 32.2. Frank's a 33.2. So he's beating him by a second a lap. It's Kelly's 12 seconds back. So now the math is looking Frank's favor.
Yeah, that it is. As the tires fall off on that 43 machine, the pace starts to level out more and more, and this time by 10 laps to go for Johnny Barker, but we of course keep our eye on second and third because we know Barker's not going to make it on fuel here, and 10 laps to go. This is where that strategy really comes to a head here of how close are these guys cutting it.
Frank has definitely picked it up a little bit, so I think he must know he's good on fuel. That gap now is less than a second a lap. It's down to, call it 9/10 a lap. So the math's not mathing right now for Mike Kelly.
Yeah, that it is not. It looks like he is going to just run out of time. But here we go. Brandon Guerin, once again, within striking distance of Frank Zingen. I mean, within 2 car lengths here, able to once again wrap the bottom there pretty nicely through 1 and 2. So Brandon Guerin's not going down without a fight, it seems like, late in this one.
You know, Brandon may have just kind of backed off a little bit, try to cool his right front down a little bit to make a run here. It's really going to be interesting what goes on.
Yeah, it definitely is. We're right on board here with the 1 car, trying to see if he's still clutching. It actually still sounds like Brandon Guerin's still clutching that race car, still this late in the run, knowing that he needs to try and get around that 62 machine as well. Wow. As yeah, that clutch pedal definitely being pushed on in as we see our race leader here, Johnny Parker, here down to pit road. So the 6 car going to come in with about 7 laps to go for a little splash and go. We'll see where he can sort on out. Probably just in front of Joe Hudson by the end of it, but overall, still not too bad of a night as Frank Zingen maybe got the wall a little bit through 1 and 2. That 62 now up against the fence in 1 and 2, at least that time by.
Yeah, I'm going to go back here and look and see. Frank clutched that corner. So Frank has gone to clutching. So he must be really close. He did not get the wall, but that is why he was up the track. That is the first time I've seen him go to the clutch.
Yeah, so definitely misjudge the entry speed with pushing that clutch. Like I was saying before, don't get that engine brake. That thing can take off on you in a hurry, and that's what we saw there. So yeah, that 62 machine must be re-looking at that fuel gauge saying, all right, do we have enough now to make it?
Yeah, and like he's clutching before he gets into 3, and right now he's clutching almost all the way to that low sign in 4. So we know Frank picked it up to go by Brandon, right? Like we could see his lap times improve, and when you do that, you know, I think a lot of guys still are under the assumption that it's the 3-lap average it used to be for iRacing to recalculate your fuel. It's not. It's somewhere between 8 and 10 now. So it takes long for iRacing to recalculate your fuel burn because they're trying to get you a more accurate one. So I'm kind of wondering maybe when Frank went to the whip there to get by Brandon, he thought he was okay, and then because he was going faster, it recalculated, you know, later in the run after he picked it up, and he may found that he picked it up hurt him. You know, he may be on the wrong side.
Yeah, and so that definitely could be the case.
And that's a new change in iRacing. I want to say this not this build for season 2, but the season 1 build, I believe. They changed how many laps it takes to calculate the fuel burn.
Ah, good to know. You see, I didn't even know that. So a little insider information there from Rob Lowe. And I tell you what, the other X factor we didn't talk about at all is Frank Zingen had Brandon Guerin's draft that whole entire run. Now he's the one cutting through the air, you know, turning that little bit extra RPM down those straightaways. That could also be a big thing as well. As last time by, we saw Brandon Guerin take a peek to the high side. So the 1 car still looking for this race win with about 2.5 laps left in this one.
Yeah, and Frank has stopped clutching, so they're putting they got the cards on the table now. They're seeing who's got what left here.
Yeah, that they do. Popsicle sticks up in the air, and yeah, also kind of a side note, Johnny Barker, you know, out of the race as well, so not sure what happened to Barker. Hate to see it, but yeah, popsicle sticks up in the air, 2 laps to go. Who's going to have enough fuel? Who's going to have it? Because it's going to come down to these cars, as it looks like the 43 of Mike Kelly just going to be shy as he's about half a straightaway back here.
Yeah, it's down to 4 seconds, 4.2. You know, we kind of knew 5-6 laps ago the math wasn't mathing for him, but here we go. White flag's in the air.
Yeah, we'll see who has enough to stretch it here to the end. White flag is out one more time around. We are racing back to the checker next time by. Frank Zingen was the first to see the white. Will he be the first to see the checkered here?
And these are teammates on Friday night, don't forget.
Yeah, that they are. So these two always working with each other, talking about their strategy down the back straightaway. Both cars fully under power. That's looking pretty good for the 62 machine. As always, gets the wall though here through 3 and 4. But it looks like he will have enough momentum. Oh, he's out of fuel at the stripe. Brandon Garrett's going to steal it. Wow.
Wow.
Wow, Frank Zingen miscalculates it, let's say, by maybe 200 feet, and that 200 feet was enough for Brandon Guerin to just sneak on by. Holy smokes.
What was the difference? I think you called it. Frank probably passed Brandon too early and gave up the draft. It changed his fuel burn, and that was probably the difference.
Yeah, that probably was right there, and what a difference it made, because that was for a race win there. I believe Frank Zingen's first win on the season was at stake for that 62 machine, but here tonight it will be now Brandon Guerin with another dramatic win here on the season. This will make it now win number 2 as he burns it on. He has enough fuel to burn it on down here on the front stretch.
Yeah, that's that last caution, I kind of said this is classic Brandon Grand. This is what Brandon's good at, saving fuel.
Yeah, and I tell you what, he did a great job with that. And Rob, I tell you what, man, we appreciate you coming in the booth here, calling the rest of this race. It was awesome to have you up in here. Hopefully you had a good time, because I know I did.
It's fun being up here with you, and I apologize to the listeners if they didn't want to listen to me, but that was fun. It's good to visit you a little bit, and man, I am glad I was out of the race to watch that and witness it. Great battle there, and you nailed it. I think the difference there was the drafting. Frank probably passed him literally a lap or two too soon, and that was the difference from running out of gas off turn 4 to being able to win the race.
Yeah, I think that could have been the difference, but we'll find out here in just a short moment as we get ready for our post-race show. And Rob, you want to stick around for the post-race show, or you got other stuff to do here tonight?
No, I'll stick around Saturday, guys.
All right, sounds good. Well, we'll be right back after a quick commercial break for our post-race show. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break here to talk with our top 3 finishers.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here at Hotlanta here to chat with our podium finishers. Our first driver we'll be talking to here tonight is the driver of the 43 machine. It will be Mike Kelly here tonight. Mike, you got a copy?
I got you.
Alrighty, man. First and foremost, after 130 laps here at Atlanta, how you feeling after everything?
I'm feeling like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, you know, I can't complain. I had the fastest car and ran a good race. Great long car, and just got snookered out by some fuel mileage there. It happens.
Yeah, I tell you what, this race could have been shaping up for no cautions. Got the caution probably at the worst time, making everyone make some tough calls. You're one of the drivers to make one of those tough calls. Come down just for fuel, not take your tires. I'm sure looking on back, you would change things on up.
I really don't. Well, the only thing I'd do different would have been just to, yeah, if I would have had any idea in the world that we could have ran that far, I might have thought about it differently. But personally, I hate running fuel mileage deals, and the last thing I want to do on a Friday night is push the clutch in for 45 freaking laps. So I just went for it, and you know, I got fuel because I thought, well, if nothing else, I knew a lot of guys were going to be out of tires. So if a late caution came out, I'd be able to go in and get tires. And still, I never thought they were going to try to make it till the end until probably 10 laps to go when I realized kind of what was happening. And then Johnny actually pitted, and I thought maybe there was hope. But obviously, when we got to, 5 to 6 go, I knew what they were trying to do, and then they started to fall back. So they had a nice cushion, and they were just clutching the crap out of it, and it worked. I can't believe they went that far.
Hey, Mike, it's Rob Lowell. I think what you probably don't realize is Brandon was clutching. Frank only clutched like 5 laps that entire run. It was like from 8 to go to 3 to go.
And he ran out.
I think, he ran out off 4, but Brett and I were talking. Do you think following straight tight to Brandon, the draft saved Frank enough fuel that he was able to make it that far without clutching, except for a handful of laps?
It definitely crossed my mind. Actually, when I passed them, I noticed they were together, and I noticed I wasn't catching on them very quickly. So I was just thinking, drafting might be helping them keep the momentum going. And then, of course, when I started to realize that maybe they were going to try, because I could have went. I was only 5 or 6 short, but that seemed like a lot to make up to me on a track like that has such high momentum. And but if you don't have any kind of threats from behind, of course, it gives you more creative freedom to just drive really slow. So when I realized that was going on, it was too late, and I just drove as hard as I could. But yeah, I was thinking maybe them drafting saved both of them some fuel.
I think you're right. I think it did.
Yeah, I think that was the case. But yeah, Mike, you're able to close up the gap. I mean, finish within 5 seconds. I mean, you were moving there in a hurry. I think, the tire fall off, though, we see it so much here at Atlanta, just didn't quite have the pace to kind of run them on down there.
No, I was going as fast as I could, that's for sure. But it falls off pretty fast. You're gaining 2 seconds a lap or so at first, but it falls off to a certain plateau pretty quickly, and then it's only about 1.5 seconds a lap at that point. So I knew when I hit a certain point with, I don't know, 10, whatever it was, around 10, 15 laps to go, I knew that if they didn't pit, I was obviously dead. So I was just hoping they were going to go until the very end.
Yeah, and I tell you what, a great run, though, overall, Mike. I mean, this now makes it your 10th top 5 finish in your now 14 starts here with this series. This actually puts you now second most top 5s of anyone on the season behind our current points leader, Logan Koger. So that's pretty impressive to see from this 43 camp.
Yeah, that's cool. I love stats like that, and definitely been fun. Running would have been fun to see, if I could have ran the whole season. And get some more wins and, compete for the points. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that next season either with, like I said, how much I travel during the summer. So we'll just keep digging and coming out and having fun. I didn't even mean to start at the rear. That's what I was going to say. I was actually going to try to qualify, and then I hit the wall on my hot lap. So had to start at the back. really saved the tires at the start of the run. And then, I mean, I just ate Johnny up when I got into second. And that was a lot of fun coming from the back. So had a good time, even though I got snookered a little bit.
Yeah, overall, a podium finish can't hang your head at too much, Mike. So before we let you go and celebrate the P number 3, we of course got to hand over the mic to you, and I'm sure you know this pretty well. Have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you like to give a shout out to on the YouTubes here tonight.
Yeah, thanks to you and everybody on your broadcast team that puts these together and puts them out for the world to see on the internet. Appreciate that, and a lot of fun to watch. Thanks to Rob and Brandon and everybody at 802 that puts these on. Enjoy racing for sure. Look forward to more races and running up front. And shout out to all the sponsors you got here, BG Graphix, everybody who supports the league. And as always, special thanks to the Smoking Hot One.
All righty, awesome stuff. Well, Mike, you have yourself a great rest tonight. We'll be looking forward to probably seeing you on Sunday as well. And you, my man, have a good one. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you before the season's wrapped on up here.
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
All righty, awesome stuff. That was our third place finisher, Mike Kelly. All right, Rob, what do you say we jump on over to talk to the guy that finished just in second here tonight?
Yeah, let's do it.
All righty, we got Frank Zingen here in the booth. Frank, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, what's going on?
All righty, man. First and foremost, how are we feeling after 130 laps and run out of fuel like that off of 4?
Left and my right leg, both tired from clutching and saving as much as I could, but had the best strategy to come up second.
Yeah, I mean, that you did. And, you know, we rode on board with you quite a bit as well as Brandon Guerin. And it seemed like you weren't clutching as much as the one car. Was that kind of what you guys were doing? Because, of course, teammates, you two were definitely working together, right, throughout that whole entire last run.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching it bounce back and forth. It would say I was good, then it would say I'm about half lap short, then it was back to good for 2 laps, and Brandon said, go ahead by me, and I passed him, and I, yeah, of course, lost the draft probably there, and misjudged it a little bit, but whatever. It was fun.
Hey, Frank, it's Rob. Great run. And that's what you just touched on. I was going to ask you. Brett and I were talking as that run went on, and we actually talked during the caution when you and Brandon first pitted, and then we talked about lowest likely guys to come down top off, one to go, and you did. And we both thought that was the winning strategy for you guys. I was going to ask you, do you think when you went by Brandon, because we noticed you weren't clutching nearly as much, but you were out front, do you feel like that's what cost you that tenth of gas you needed to get to the finish line?
Yeah, because I was probably trying to keep Brandon behind me there at the end. I knew he had a little bit more gas because he said he had 2 laps at one point, and I was like, I'm still a half lap short. So I knew to stay in front of him, I was just going to have to run it out and see what happened. Plus, I was only going maybe 3/4 of throttle down the straightaways if I could and try and keep him behind me at times. So that's where I was with that.
Yeah, we were going back and forth, your car to Brandon's car, and we saw that he was clutching religiously every corner, every lap, and you were, most of the time we were in your car, you weren't. We really didn't know what you were doing until like 8 to go or something, but we figured the way you were running there, you would save enough fuel being in the draft, and I thought you would have the tire advantage the last 3-4 laps to drive by him. Because you could see Brandon kind of diming in the corner a little bit, and the engine braking was just keeping you right on that white line.
Yeah, and then
you got that far in fuel was amazing.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good fuel run. And then from not clutching every corner, as you could see, with probably like 5 to go, I clutched that and went straight up into the wall almost. That was right when Johnny pitted, I think. I clutched it in turn 1 and slid right up into it.
Yeah, I mean, that clutching, you know, is a whole different aspect. You know, you don't got the engine brake, so that also throws off stuff. Also, your rhythm can get thrown out of whack, especially that late in a run to start doing it, you know, can be very, very challenging. And at the end of the day, you know, you got to try and beat that teammate car right there as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was trying to be a good teammate there and get out of the way coming through 3 and 4 because I knew I wasn't going to make it, especially coming off the corner. My best bet was just to bounce it off the wall and then see what happened, but I knew I was going to be short.
Yeah, but overall,
Frank.
man. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
I was just going to ask Frank. Since this last update 2 weeks ago, these cars have been quite a bit tighter than we're used to. At least I feel like they are. Do you like this version of the O'Reilly's car?
No. I like when they
You
drive
rather
off
have
the
the free
rear. I
run.
don't like it driving off the right front. I don't know why they did that with this car.
Yeah, we were talking about that in our Discord, that we feel like they've totally changed this series in this car.
Yeah, it drives like the ARCA car now for some reason.
Yeah, that's exactly what Ritter said. It drives like the D-Class car.
Yeah, and that's really going to change a lot of the perspective of these cars because everybody like driving these things loose, and they don't break loose really in the corner as much anymore.
Well, everyone should be happy come Sunday then.
We'll see.
The Cup car's free.
Good. Be bottoming out everywhere probably.
Definitely have the bump off of it's like they took the bump from Charlotte and made it even worse.
Yeah, Frank, while we got you here as well, cool stuff that the 802 iRacing League's always doing. This week they have a throwback paint schemes here on some of the cars on Sunday night, honoring kind of the past champions. You, of course, the Season 2 champion. How's that kind of, to go full circle, see maybe someone else kind of running the paint schemes of the 62 as well as, giving honor to that championship you picked up a few seasons ago.
Yeah, it's awesome. I appreciate you guys doing that. It's going to be cool seeing that car out there. I haven't run that car in a couple years now. So I really appreciate you guys going out and doing that, especially Steve driving it. He said he's going to put it in the wall for me. I said, I doubt you will. So I'd like to see that.
That's some good stuff there, Frank. And yeah, overall, man, 2 races left on the schedule, at least for Friday night, 3 on the Sunday nights. You got any races still circled? I mean, Kansas in a few weeks, full length. Are you planning to be there for that? And if so, that's going to be a wild one in and of itself for sure.
Yeah, I'll be around for the Cup races. Missed last week because of Easter, so that put me out of the playoffs. But yeah, I'll still stick around and finish out the season and do the full race. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, that will, like you said, the playoffs came to an end, but, not a bad season at all. I mean, to get to the round of 10, a lot of good drivers eliminated in that round as well, and you're, of course, one of them able to make it to there, so I'm sure that 62 machine, is still going to be fighting for those checkered flags, the next couple weeks, right?
Yeah, especially with the amount of talent we got up there, it's very good racing. Keeps everybody on their toes, and I'll tell you what, there's some good guys up there.
Yeah, that it is. And Frank, we look forward to seeing you out on track here tonight. Congrats on the runner-up finish. That was impressive to see you save that fuel to the end and end up, just short there. But overall, P number 2, that was awesome to see. So Frank, before we let you go, we're going to go hand over the mic to you one last time and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast here.
Thank you guys for putting us on, for running the league. All my Busch Light drinkers, my wife for letting me do this, my boys that continuously help me out here and I race with, and other than that, just everything you guys got going on here.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Well, Frank, have yourself a great rest of the night. Have a great weekend as well, and we'll catch you on Sunday night here at Atlanta with the next gen car.
Thanks a lot.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. And Rob, you got anything else to add, or should we go down to Victory Lane and talk to the man of the hour here?
Now let's talk to Brandon. I just think it's, Frank brought up the draft and before we did there, so it was definitely on their minds. So
yeah, it definitely was on the 62, and I'm sure he's going to be thinking about it a lot here as tonight comes on up and he looks at that second place finish. So yeah, let's go talk to now the man of the hour, the driver of the one machine, Brandon Guerin, back in Victory Lane for the second time this season. Brandon, do you got a copy?
I got a copy, boys. How we doing?
Oh, we are doing pretty good. How are you feeling, my man, after 130 laps and somehow saving enough fuel to do some burnouts as well down here in Victory Lane?
I feel like a thief. I keep stealing these wins from these guys, and and it just feel. You know what? They feel even sweeter when you steal them. That's all I'm gonna say.
So Brandon, on that caution, um, Brett and I were talking, and you guys pitted, and then I said I expect the 1 and the 6-2 come down here and top off. And I said this is your thing, right? Like you have made your name doing exactly this, stretching fuel, beating guys in strategy. Every season in the Cup Series, it seems like you steal 1 or 2 this way, and steal is not the right word. You earn them. You outsmart guys. You outperform them. And I think the key to the night was you were clutching the whole time. We were running Frank a couple times. He wasn't clutching, but I think most importantly, at one point when you let him go by you, and that probably he was saving fuel drafting behind you, and those I don't know 8-10 laps that he was ahead of you probably is what burnt just enough fuel that he ran out off before there.
Yeah, I at that point I thought he was like he had better pace than me, and like my main worry that whole run was I knew I could save the fuel. I don't want to sound cocky about it, but like that's the whole reason we came in and topped off and took tires. Like at the time when we originally were coming to pit road, I was like, I'm just gonna top off and get my tires later. And then I kept doing the math, and I was like, I think I can stretch it, but I'm more worried about burning my tires up. Like I know I can stretch the fuel. I don't know if I can make my tires make it. Because that first run that I went 42 laps, my right front went down to 4%, and all the other tires are at 80. So I was like, all right, we're in a Miami situation again. And then I kind of figured something out on that second run, and I had over 30 laps. My right front only got down to 65, so I was a little bit more confident because that's all I was doing that first time we came down here. I was like, I want to check where my tires are at, and I'm going to top off with fuel. And then when I saw where they're at, I was like, all right, maybe we'll come back down and we'll top it off and be able to make it at least. And then I started thinking, I was like, well, Johnny took tires. This thing might go green the whole way. I might as well take my tires now too. And that's what we did. And I stretched them 60 laps. I was more worried about the tires. And yeah, luckily I made it. Thinking back on it, I don't know why I let Frank by me because I didn't get tighter behind him, but that's just like, that's usually what would happen when you're behind somebody. Your car's going to naturally get tighter. So I wasn't doing it to like be like, oh, I can save more fuel behind him because I was already pretty good at that point. I just thought he had more pace, and I was worried about burning my right front up.
You know me. I'm a telemetry guy. I'm a data guy, right? So I had said after you guys came out that I thought you would probably be at a deficit time-wise until like lap 100, lap 105, and then I thought you'd even out. By lap 90, Brandon, the only car on the track faster than you was Johnny Barker. So even clutching, you were doing a good enough job saving tires that it had flipped, and you and Frank started running those guys ahead of you down. Did you know that at that point? Did you know, hey, I'm actually closing in on these guys while I'm saving fuel?
I knew we were closing on. I assumed eventually we would just because like the tire advantage, but I was more worried about because I knew everybody would most likely pit because not many of them topped off, and even the ones that did, I knew they weren't going to be clutching to save. Like I think Mike came in and got fuel on that caution, and the one I was worried about was Johnny, and I was like, he really stretched it out fast, and I'm like, can he still save on the back end? And we weren't sure, but then like as me and Frank are going through the run, I was like, I've been clutching the whole time, and I've barely saved like to get like 2 laps above. And Frank's like, I'm fluctuating between a half a lap good and a half a lap bad. I was like, there's no way Johnny can make it then. So then like our focus more came is Mike gonna catch us? Like we weren't so much worried about Johnny. Like if he won the race, that would have been awesome because he would have saved just like we did. But actually, it would have been more impressive because of how much he took out of the gate to get the lead. But yeah, we switched our focus and started like checking like, is Mike catching us? And by around 10 to go, we were like, Mike's not gonna catch us. We just gotta focus on what we gotta do. Because I think Johnny pitted. It might have been right around 10 to go, or within like it was more than 5 laps to go. He was somewhere in there. So yeah, we were mostly focused on Mike eventually, but the whole run we just knew we had to maintain our pace, keep our clutch, and like if it stayed green, we knew we were both good.
Yeah, that definitely was the case, except Brandon, you're that little bit better. I mean, you see Frank Zingen get the wall through 3 and 4, see some daylight there, and then off of 4, he sputters as well. I mean, what are you thinking that final lap as well?
Well, we'd been talking about it. I mean, I had known, and at first I said, Frank, why are you way up there? How am I going to give you a shot to get you across the line? He came off the wall, and he still had a little bit of speed, and then he sputtered right around when he got to like pit entry, and I was like, if I do try to like give him a shot to go across the line, I'm either gonna spin him out, and I'm gonna wreck with him, and yeah, I think that's probably the real reason I let Frank go by, because I kind of wanted him to win the race. Like, he hasn't won in a while, and I was trying to be the good teammate, but I might have screwed him by not letting him be able to save enough fuel. But then if I'm ahead of him, do I let him pass at the end? Probably not. So who knows how that race plays out, but I'm glad we each got to get 1-2, and yeah, we outsmarted the field in a way. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. You guys put on a heck of a show there to finish 1-2 and end things off on this Friday night. We, of course, head to Hotlanta here on Sunday night with the Cup Series. Rob says that setup's going to be on the looser side. How are you feeling about that place and that race as well?
If the car is on the looser side, I will like that more. We'll see when I actually get in the car how much I like it, but I definitely don't like when my car burns the right front up as much as this one did in that first run. But we'll see. Maybe I need to get in and start practicing a little bit more, not just showing up before the race and getting in and qualifying and learning on my first run of the race. But it worked out tonight, I guess, so I'm not going to complain
either. That don't jump in this car at all during the week. You're alone in that situation. Actually, the same question I asked Frank. 2 weeks ago when they updated this car, it totally changes characteristics. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it. I mean, maybe I can kind of figure, like I said, that middle run after getting like that first set of tires, I kind of figured a little something out, but I don't know if it would have benefited me enough to like actually get a good run, because if that race stays green, like I had pitted way too early and everybody still had fresher tires. So learning kind of what I learned on that second run, though, I think I can kind of make some stuff work, but it'll be really interesting next week at Nashville. That's already a heavy braking track as it is, so we'll see how that is. And then I love Kansas, so I hope it didn't ruin that too much. That's all I'll say. That's like my favorite track, so I hope they didn't ruin Kansas too much, because I like the wall there.
Yeah, I'm right with you that last run, and you were clutching, but you could tell even when you weren't. A couple laps I saw that you didn't clutch there. You were definitely back in your corners way up more than you were like when you and I were racing early in the run there.
Yeah.
These cars almost drive this point like the next gen when they're tight. And you're good in the next gen. So I think now the more you race this car and the more any of us race this car, now that we know what to expect with it, I think the racing's gonna, it's gonna get back to what we experienced when they were on the loose side. Guys racing hard, and it's not gonna be so much a tire saving. You proved right there that you figured it out in one run. So
yeah.
And that run, even clutching, you were faster than a lot of other guys that took tires. So
yeah, this is kind of revenge from a couple weeks ago. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I was really jealous that Scott won that race on fuel mileage, and like looking back after I did the math, I was like, I probably could have done that same thing. I don't know if I could have beat him, but I could have ended up a lot better at Vegas in that Cup race. So yeah, this is kind of like a little bit of redemption, and like just doing some quick math. I think we were like 2 laps short when we first originally pitted, and then we came in and topped off, and we would be a lap short, and then yeah, I'm usually pretty decent at holding some pace and being able to clutch it, and especially on a track like this where like it just drops off so much.
Yeah, but Brandon, I tell you what, a great win here tonight. Win number 2 for you on the season as things wrap on up. Looks like a pretty solid, third in points right now. You know, you and Ritter were starting to close on up. This will stretch things on out with now 2 races left. But Brandon, before we let you go and celebrate career win number 2 of the season, we of course got to hand over the mic to you one last time here and thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out here tonight from Atlanta.
Yep. As always, we start out with the kids. I'm going to thank Bryson and Brody. Then I'm going to thank the penny stacker team with Frank, Dustin, John, even Kenny. Yeah, just a great team to work with. Thank you for putting on the broadcast. Obviously, Rob, everything he does for the league, all of our sponsors. Yeah, and thank everybody for not doing the same strategy as me and Frank, so we could win this race.
Alrighty, well, Brandon, you, my man, have yourself a great rest of the night. We look forward to seeing you out on track Sunday here, and yeah, you have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Yep, we'll see you Sunday, Brett.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was our race winner, Brandon Guerin, down from Victory Lane. And Rob, I first got to thank you for spending your time here in the booth with me, and I'll leave the mic open for you for any closing words or anything like that here, and before we let you get on with your night as well, my man.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. Brandon's got to come in and call a couple races with you late after he's fallen out, so I appreciate getting in here and seeing it from this perspective. I just want to thank you for all you do, all Turn 3 does. Roger on the dirt side, their season's all done. So, you know, you guys do a great job. I'm really excited about you. You know, we're starting this new series on Thursday nights, and you're going to climb in a race car and do some racing with us. That's going to be awesome. So, you know, you took the car caster problems here on the Busch Series in the middle of the season. You agreed to do the Friday night stuff, and we missed racing with you. And this Thursday night's deal and get you back in the Cup car with us, and it'll be a blast. You know, it's a summertime league. We're gonna follow the NASCAR schedule, but I'm looking forward to getting to race side by side with you again. So, thank you for all you do. I want to thank Brandon for all he does, Steve, all the racers. We've come so far this season, and the league's just growing leaps and bounds. We've had a bunch of new guys come in on the Cup side in the last few weeks, and they're just racing unbelievable, showing respect to the playoff guys. We're looking forward to what we got coming up, you know, this summer and in the fall again. So thanks to all them, and wish you a good night. And
oh, did we lose you, Rob?
no, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we may have lost the ending of that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to get out of your hair and let you wrap up the show. And thanks for all you do.
All righty, Rob. Well, first and foremost, we got to thank you as well, because I know being an admin behind the scenes with other stuff, you know, it's a lot of thankless job. You know, it's a lot of hard work behind the scenes, you know, getting everything in right, dealing with drivers, you know, that's its own, you know, nightmare in it's of itself. So, Rob, we got to thank you for all you do here and grow what this league has grown into here today, because I tell you what, without your kind of passion for it and all that good stuff, it wouldn't be anywhere close to where it is. So we got to thank you a lot, Rob, for everything you do as well.
Thanks, Brett.
All righty. Well, you, my man, take care. Thanks again here. Sadly, not the night you probably wanted, but we appreciate you jumping in the booth and once again always taking a chance to chat with me here. And yeah, man, we look forward to seeing you on Sunday night to go for that championship there with the Winston Cup Series.
Appreciate it, and I will talk to you Sunday night. How about that? I'll leave it at that.
All righty, awesome stuff. Well, Rob, take care. We'll see you Sunday.
See you Sunday.
All righty, awesome stuff. That was Rob Lowe there jumping in the booth for quite a bit with me, having some fun, and we appreciate that, because I tell you what, that is probably probably the hardest working man here in the 802 iRacing League. So got to give him a lot of props there, as he does a lot here. And yeah, what do we say we head down, kind of wrap things on up here and get on with our Friday night. So looking like here the race results will be the following. Brandon Guerin here picking up his second career win this season. He will be down in victory lane. His teammate Frank Zingen coming up oh so close, but a respectable P number 2, and maybe the car to beat. Mike Kelly will round out the podium. Joe Hudson, in the end, will end up P number 4, and Logan Koger here tonight, our points leader coming in, our points leader leaving, will finish in 5th. 6th will be Dustin Coggin, land an audit in an impressive 7th here tonight. Johnny Barker in 8th, Grant Humphrey in 9th, and then Ron Holyfield here rounds out the top 10. Steve Ritter in 11th, Rick Kennedy in 12th, Rob Lowe will finish 13th, and Bryson Anderson will finish P number 14. We, of course, got to thank everyone here in the 802 iRacing League. Like I said, with Rob being on the admin team, all the work he puts in, all the other admins, as well as the league sponsors. That's being BG Graphix, Riptide Radio, GStone Motorsports, as well as Stone, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram, as well as admin Boxx coming on board here. So we got to give a shout out to all of them. Of course, all you guys tuning on in here live replay, we appreciate each and everyone tuning into Turn 3 Racing Network, let's say that right. And yeah, I tell you what, it's getting late for me. We've been talking enough here, so we appreciate you tuning in. As well as if you want some more good sim racing action, Turn 3 Racing Network live most each and every day, bringing you a lot of great sim racing action, and we appreciate each and every click here. And Turn 3 also partnered with Premier Setup Shops. You can find out more with the link in the description. That'll take you over to their website, whether you need paint schemes, maybe a monthly subscription, or maybe just a setup on its own. You know where to find them, and be maybe pretty quick with them as well. So that'll do it for myself here from Atlanta. Be sure to tune in Sunday night, as that is a race you won't want to miss. The kickoff of the round of 5 drivers going for the season number 6 championship. You won't want to miss it. So everyone, take care, stay safe, have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you Sunday night. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth here tonight, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today, and remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.